A very warm welcome to everybody who is tuned in on today's webinar. My name is John Vos, I'm European Projects Manager at Tech4BioWaste Technology Group, and I'm also the coordinator of the Tech4BioWaste project. It is my pleasure to be a moderator today. Over the last 2 years, the Tech4BioWaste project team has been working intensively, developing and populating the first and only open source database for technologies converting biowaste, such as the biowaste you can see being moved by the bulldozer behind me. We are very proud that we can show you the ins and outs of our database today. The Tech4BioWaste project formally comes to an end this week, but the 3 project partners have already agreed that they will continue their work on the database for some time to come. Rather than the end of the project, today's webinar marks a milestone. Today, we will take you on a journey through the Tech4BioWaste database. During this journey, you will meet various people that contributed to the success of the database. Firstly, there are the project team members from Nova Institute in Germany, Biobase Europe Pilot Plant in Belgium, and Tech4BioWaste Technology Group from the Netherlands. You will also encounter some of our advisors that guided the database development process. We will interview several persons that used or contributed to the database, but most importantly, you will meet several of the companies listed in the Tech4BioWaste database. But it's not just showcasing what is already there. If somehow you missed out and your technology is not represented in the database yet, we will show you how to add it. Last but not least, we will answer your questions during a Q&A session at the very end of the webinar. Let's kick off today's program. The Tech4BioWaste team believes in impactful communication. Therefore, we created out-of-the-box videos with a fun twist and a social media campaign deducted from it. We will now show the first video explaining what the project aims to achieve. Footage for this video was shot at the Biobase Europe Pilot Plant premises in Ghent and the Wikipedia house in Cologne. Maybe you recognize some of the actors. Our first video premiered at the Pitch Perfect and Boost the European Bioeconomy event held in Brussels 18 months ago. It served as inspiration for an extensive social media campaign. I hope you enjoy watching the video as much as we enjoyed making it.
Finding emerging, innovative technologies was our line of work. And man, what a tough job it was. Tons of different types of bio-waste on one side, and a long wish list of bio-based end products on the other. And then us, in the middle, trying to connect these two worlds with emerging and innovative technologies. It took us long days, long nights, stress, and frustrations. We often asked ourselves, why? It was just too much.
We took the problem and we solved the problem. No problem. So we connected all the dots, put it together, and now we have the solution for everything.
With our database, it's very easy to find a new solution for your bio-wastes. You can find and compare new and emerging technologies.
We pulled them out of the misery, got them out of the dark.
It's a real treasure for everyone who is working in the bioeconomy. If you have a technology which is not yet in our database, get in touch with us. No time to bio-waste, get your technology out of the dark.
As for us, we still have some dots to connect.
After this warm-up, it is time for our first interview. In this interview, Freya Soutner from project partner Nova Institute will interview one of the companies making active use of the technology database to find technology owners, such as for example Planet Bioplastics, whose facility you can see behind me. Freya, I'm pleased to see you. Can you please introduce your guest?
Thank you, John. I have the pleasure to introduce to you Lars Berger, Vice President, Renewable Polymers and Chemicals at Neste. Good morning, Lars.
Good morning, Freya. It's a pleasure to be here.
Maybe the first question already came to the minds of some of our viewers. Neste is an oil refining company based in Finland. And how is your company related to the Tech4BioWaste project? Are you using biowaste as a feedstock?
Yeah, actually we do, and it could well be that we are one of the largest users globally even, because Neste, yes, started as an oil refiner, but actually since basically 2 decades we are working in the field of renewable materials and fuels, and this is based largely on waste and residue based materials which are bio-based. So basically we have currently a capacity of 5.5 million tons, and this is all bio-waste one or the other way. Yes, we use it.
That's quite interesting. Did you already have a chance to use the database, Tech4BioWaste Database?
Yes, absolutely. So I personally have been using it because as much as we are already a big scale player in this field with this 5.5 million ton, this actually by the end of the decade will roughly be like maybe up to 9 million tons of usage. We need to check always for new technologies which could kind of support our growth, because we are trying to be open for new technologies, and we need to be, because the feedstocks are getting more complicated, so new technologies are needed, and that's where this database really can play an important role for us.
And did you find it difficult to find the information that you were looking for, or do you find it easy to navigate the website?
I think it's super easy to navigate. It is, to me, it looks a bit like a combination of a glossary, but also some elements of Wikipedia being in it. So it feels directly home, and you can navigate very easily, I would say.
That's good to hear. So what is the most interesting feature for your purpose of the database?
Well, I would say that's different for different users in the company. I can talk about myself. I really like the kind of overview on the different technology sites, where you then directly can learn about the basics of a technology, and then also have directly examples of different companies or other players, let's say, which are working with this, and this kind of leads you into the topic, and this gives a very good overview, I think.
Is there an important feature missing from your point of view?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think it's really good. I mean, one thing which came up my mind is kind of how can we make sure that this stays updated? This is always a topic for a database, of course. And how can that clearly be seen that it is really now updated, or on which level, which date, so to say, is the information which was entered? I think that is something which is very important. I think you can get to this information, but it could be thinkable to even improve that by making it more clear. When was the data put in, and how old is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for your for this input. I think we will consider it. A last question: can you already tell us a problem that you maybe solved with the help of the Tech4BioWaste database?
Well, not really a problem in that sense, but it helped us in screening through some technologies which we're interested in. But I cannot comment further on that.
Okay. Then thank you a lot for being here.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And back to John.
Thank you, Lars and Freya, for discussing your database user experience. You are probably very interested to learn where you can find the database and what is exactly covered in it. So let's move on and present some details. Freya will now explain the database content step by step. Freya, go ahead.
Hello everybody and welcome to the next section of today's event, in which I will take you on a tour through the Tech4BioWaste database. The database is based on the MediaWiki software, which delivers a Wikipedia-like look and feel. The majority of potential users and contributors should therefore be able to get familiar with it relatively quickly. Our tour starts with the decision support tool that involves two parts: a one-page matching table and a technology comparison table. The search for biowaste conversion technologies begins with a matching table, which supports the selection of a suitable technology capable to convert a specific group of feedstocks into a specific group of products. Currently, the Tech4BioWaste database contains more than 100 providers across 36 different technologies. On the top, the feedstocks are listed, and on the left side, the products. A colored dot indicates a matching technology. So let's start our exemplary search for a technology that is capable to process food-related waste streams into bulk chemicals. The matching cell gives us 6 matching technologies. Indicated in green, we have 3 biochemical technologies, including enzymatic processes, industrial fermentation, and insect farming. Indicated in red, we have 2 thermochemical technologies, including gasification and hydrothermal processing. Indicated in blue, 1 chemical technology is listed with heterogeneous catalysis. Once the user hovers with the mouse cursor on the respective symbol, the technology name appears. In our example, we are interested in finding and comparing technology providers for industrial fermentation technologies. A click on the symbol directs the user to the technology comparison table. In this table, all industrial fermentation technology providers are listed. They can be sorted by different values. In this example, the user can sort and compare the providers based on the country, TRL, capacity, or capability to process specific feedstocks. Depending on the technology, further values can be compared, such as temperature, pressure, catalyst, and so forth. In this example, we search for the provider with the highest capacity. The top listed company raised our interest, and we wanted to learn more about them. A click on the company name directs us to the company and technology profile. The company and technology profile begins with an info box, which provides general information about the company location, contact information, and web presence. Furthermore, the info box provides detailed information on the technology and process itself, such as biosafety level, utilized microorganism, reactor material, controlled parameters, as well as on the processable feedstocks and the obtainable products. Let's go back to the main page again. We now saw the decision support tool, or feedstock product matrix, the comparison tool, and the company profiles. Both of the latter are part of the technology pages. Now we will have a closer look at the technology pages. The database offers 36 articles on technologies, which further helps the user to better understand how in general the technologies work and what their capabilities are. The technologies are divided into pre-processing, conversion, and post-processing. Let's have a look into the conversion technologies. Here you see that those technologies are subdivided based on their basic working principles, such as biochemical, chemical, material, thermochemical, and other processes and technologies. For today's tour, we will have a look on the pyrolysis article. Each technology article begins with quickly accessible basic information, including a short description, info box, and a table of contents. The first chapter of the technology article provides information on the processable feedstocks, including its origins and composition, which in some cases have an impact on processability, product quality, and yield. In such cases, all these aspects are and can be further described and discussed here. Furthermore, the links to potentially necessary pre-treatments are listed here in the feedstock chapter. This allows the user to connect various technologies with each other in a meaningful way. The second chapter describes the process itself, including a subdivision into suitable categories. Another aspect covered in this chapter are supplementary information on reactions or physical principles of the process. The third chapter provides information about the products that can be obtained from the process. In some cases, only one product can be obtained. In other cases, several products may be obtained, like shown here for pyrolysis, where char, oil, and gas can be obtained. For the products, another subchapter is dedicated to post-treatment or upgrading technologies that can be linked in a similar way, as already shown for the pre-treatment of the feedstocks. The fourth chapter begins with a technology comparison tool, which was already shown before. After the comparison tool, the company and technology profiles of the providers are listed in alphabetical order, which was also already shown to you before. In the fifth chapter, links are provided to open access pilot and demo facility providers, which direct the user to our partner project, the Pilots for You database. The last two chapters are summarizing identified patents and used references within the article, which soon will be updated on a regular basis via automated scripts. With that quick tour, you now hopefully have a better idea about the overall article structure.
Thank you, Freya. That was a lot to capture. Maybe you felt that things were explained a bit too fast. Or maybe something was not entirely clear to you. Don't worry, this webinar will be recorded and put online, so that anyone can watch or rewatch it at their leisure. And if you are following us live, you can ask any question to the project team at the end of the webinar. We now proceed to the next interview. My colleague Bas Davidis from Biomass Technology Group talks with representatives of two companies that provide technologies listed in the database, such as, for example, the technology of Nature's Principles, whose lab you can see behind me. Bas, happy to see you. Can you please explain who you will be talking to?
Thank you very much, Sean. I'm happy to welcome our guest of today's technology provider interview. So we have Remy Busset, co-founder and CEO of Bloom Biorenewables. And he's accompanied by Florent Heroguel, co-founder and COO of Bloom Biorenewables. Also with us today is Sophie Roelands. She's co-founder of Amphystar. Welcome.
Hello.
So I think we are all very curious about the activities of Bloom Biorenewables and also of Amphystar, and what kind of technology they bring to the market that enables the valorization of biowaste. So please, Florent, introduce your company with a specific focus on how your company contributes to the valorization of biowaste.
Sure. Hello. So thank you first for the invitation. And about Bloom, our mission is to really help the industry to go more sustainable. And we are doing this by sourcing sustainable carbon in biomass, because as you know, most of the products around us are made from carbon, and this goes from paintings, plastics, cosmetics, textiles. And today, most of this carbon is coming from fossil fuels. And at Bloom, we developed a process to mine this carbon in lignocellulosic biomass. And the connection here with waste is that we believe that valorizing this waste, which actually should not be called waste anymore, there are these side streams or this carbon feedstock, could be also side stream from the industry. So we are working with straw, we are working with shell from fruits, and a side stream from the forestry. And we manage to fractionate this feedstock to extract key building blocks, which can be then delivered to many industries, so that we can make all the products I mentioned without using any drop of petroleum.
Thank you very much, Florent. Sophie, can you add to that?
So I actually don't have to add too much to the beginning. It's a similar approach. We have developed methodologies to replace fossil-based surfactants, in our case, with bio-based surfactants. And we actually developed our technologies as such that we can develop a platform of biosurfactant molecules for all these different applications that were already mentioned. And that we can use various sources of biowaste, such as food waste, to produce these biosurfactants. As such, replacing fossil feedstocks, but also palm oil feedstocks from the tropics related to deforestation.
All right, thank you very much, Sophie, for this introduction. So could you then also explain to the viewers how you promote or advertise your technology at the moment? So how do you make yourself visible to those interested in your technology?
I go first, or?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay, so yeah, typically we use social media channels such as LinkedIn, for example. We go to trade fairs, to conferences, and now we actually will have our first product. So it's a consumer product, a hard surface cleaner containing the waste-derived biosurfactants. So we really converted food waste into biosurfactants. That process was scaled up at BioBase, our pilot plant. And that product now goes into a prototype on the market. So we will really have the bottle of the product of a known brand. And that is also, of course, very nice advertisement to show people. So that's how we typically do it. Take those products also to customers.
Right. And Remy, how about Bloom Biorenewables?
Yes, so at Bloom, we do it very similarly. And I think what we can highlight here is we need the whole supply chain to understand the process for them to kind of integrate this kind of valorization of biomass into their vision. And so what we do is we go all the way from biomass providers, should it be in the forestry or agricultural space, all the way to the chemical industries. And we kind of promote through fairs, personal interviews, but also social media, obviously, what we do and how we can really turn SideStream into absolutely performant and matching products to what the industry is using today.
All right, thank you. And a question to you, Florent. How could the Tech4BioWaste database help you? And which functionality are you most excited about?
So as explained by Remy, what we try to do is really to cover the full value chain from the carbon resource to the end customer. And we are really trying to reach out to feedstock and to customers. But the idea is that we have more visibility and people can proactively find us. And access to feedstock is becoming more and more strategic because as we all try to move away from fossil fuels, there is a race somehow to try to find these alternative source of carbon that we can find in the waste feedstock. So I think it's very key. So our hope here is that we will have people reaching out directly to us if they manage to grasp really the unique selling proposition that Bloom is offering, both from a feedstock valorization point of view, but also from a market point of view.
Right. Sophie? How about you?
Yeah, again, quite similar. It's visibility is very important for a startup. What we do is also quite, it's unique. It's the first time a company will put a completely food waste derived biosurfactant on the market. But it's as a small startup with not a lot of communication money. It's difficult to reach everyone that you want to reach. So I think for us that's really important that we are there and that people can find us there. Also, it's quite a broad database with a lot of information. It can also help us to gain more insights in things that we haven't completely explored yet, and find new links or new leads.
Yes, and well, you are both already in the Tech4BioWaste database. So how much effort did it cost to get your technology promoted in Tech4BioWaste database? Let's start with you, Sophie.
It was my colleague that put it in, so I have to be honest about that. But he told me that it was, very straightforward, not difficult. You sometimes get these systems where you really get a headache, and that apparently was not the case for this database. So that's really good news.
Indeed. And Remy, How about you?
Yeah, I can only second this. So we put a kind of a lot of attention because it's important that these processes are described very well for the customers to understand them. So we filled the pre-made tables and the questions were very well targeted. And I think the effort on our side also, because we are experts in what we do, it was quite easy to do. And then we added a bit of effort also to validate other kind of technologies we know very well to make sure that everything is actually fits the reality. So I think cross-checking also the database is always an important element. And we also contributed to this to say that we had a bit of spare resources to also put into this excellent project.
Well, thank you very much, Remy. Well, I actually heard two companies that are very enthusiastic and positive about their experience with the Tech4BioWaste database. So it's truly a good opportunity for technology providers to make themselves visible for those that are looking for ways to valorize the biowaste. So join the Tech4BioWaste database and get your technology out of the dark. Back to you, Jean.
Thank you, Sophie, Florent, Remy and Bas, for this interesting discussion. As explained in Nova's step-by-step video, there are a lot of details on processes and technologies to be found in the database. Such details are very nice, but you may ask yourself, what are the companies behind the letters and the numbers? Let's bring our database to life and give you an overview of the technology owners present in the database, linked to the different technology areas. As for example, Tidy Planet, whose pilot line you can see behind me. But there's a lot more. We are already approaching the last of our interviews. Stef de Naaier, the Tech4BioWaste Stakeholder Relations Manager, who is based at the Biobase Europe pilot plant, talks with two members of our advisory board. The project team highly appreciates the suggestions and other feedback received from the advisory board members, either during the quarterly online meetings or ad hoc, for example for testing and validation purposes. Stef, welcome. Can you please tell me who are our guests today?
So John, I will be talking to two dedicated advisory board members. We have Melissa Nava from Novamont and Wim de Jong from Twens. So ladies first, Melissa, can you introduce yourself shortly?
Of course, that. My name is Melissa Nava and I work as Project Funding Manager for Novamont. Novamont is an Italian company certified B Corp, leader in the bioplastic sector and in the development of biochemicals. Our roots lie in the Mount Edison School of Material Science. Then, more than 30 years ago, a small group of researchers started to develop an ambitious project to integrate chemistry, environment, and agriculture. Today, we are a larger group having 4 production sites, research centers, and sales offices in Germany, Spain, the United States, France, and a representative office in Brussels.
Okay, and Wim, Twens, what is Twens doing and what is your role there?
Well, Stef, I am an engineer at applied physics and I work as a strategic advisor at waste management company Twens. We are located in the eastern part of the Netherlands, nearby Enschede, close to the German border. We are a public company and processing more than 1 million tons of biomass and waste into energy and raw materials.
Okay, and perhaps the first question to you, Wim. What is the touching point? What is the real touching point between Twens and Tech4BioWaste?
Well, Stef, as a waste management company, we support the transition towards a circular economy with a renewable energy supply. To replace fossil fuels, we need technologies to process biomass into valuable products. That's the main reason for us to join Tech4BioWaste, because we need the technologies that have been developed and need to be developed in the future.
And Melissa, what is that the touching point for Novamont?
Novamont promotes a bioeconomy model which is based on the efficient use of resources and on territory regeneration. And having such vision, Novamont has always been engaged in promoting and developing programs to facilitate the collection of organic waste and transform it into quality compost by the use of compostable bioplastics.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Melissa, you were following it very closely as an advisory board member during 2 years. How did you experience that?
Yes, participating in the project as member of the advisory board has been a really interesting experience that offered me the possibility to activate a constructive dialogue with people having different backgrounds and expertise. And it is my opinion that this complementarity of skills turned out to be the key element of the cooperation, the co-creation project, the process that led to the development of the Tech4BioWaste Database.
And Wim, how was your experience?
Well, Stef, I would like to start to make compliments to the project team. Your approach has made us all enthusiastic and helped to find out what information is needed and how to present it to make clear what can be done with processing of biomass. The thorough investigation of all information was a struggle, but together you managed to present a database with a clear overview.
Thanks, Wim. And Melissa, what do you think about the result of the Tech4BioWaste partners during these 2 years of effort?
Yeah, I think that Tech4BioWaste Database is really a powerful instrument, and my invitation goes to companies to actively contribute in further developing such database by implementing their own profile and describing their own technology, so to expand the scope and fully exploit the commercial potential of such an instrument.
Okay, that was it. Thank you both for attending this webinar, and well, I would say back to John. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Melissa, Wim and Steph for enlightening us. For today's webinar, we asked several of the listed technology providers to provide video material on their technologies. Many of the companies that we approached were happy to do so, and we are very thankful for their cooperation. The next video aims to make the database come alive and to give you a good impression of the diversity of the listed technologies. Impressive! As you can see, many and very diverse technologies are currently under development all across Europe. And this was only a sneak preview. There's a lot more where this came from. I would say, check it out. In my introduction, I informed you that the project development work ends tomorrow. However, the 3 project partners have already agreed that they will continue their work on the database. In the next presentation, I will shed some light on our ambitions to further develop and expand the database. In my introduction to today's webinar, I informed you that formally the 2-year Tech4BioWaste project will come to an end tomorrow. However, reaching this milestone does not mean that our work on the database is over. In this short presentation, I will briefly shed some light on how we will proceed. How does the project team envisage the future of the Tech4BioWaste database? Firstly, we have committed ourselves that the database will stay alive for a longer period of time. Secondly, we have the ambition to expand the scope of the database and to transform it into a key part of a one-stop bioeconomy portal/platform. This vision translates into a 2-pronged approach, addressing the short-term and the longer-term respectively. For the short term, we will sustain the database and its current setup. In the most basic version, the database remains standalone. Discussions are ongoing to securing an active connection to similar online initiatives, For the longer term, we strive to make the database a key part of a larger ecosystem and a thriving community. That can be an existing online environment or one that members of the Tech4BioWaste team will help design and build. The structure, scope and setup of the database would likewise evolve. It will become wider than biowaste only, and it may include more than just processes and technologies. To summarize and conclude, we remain open for business. Among others, we will support interested technology providers with login codes so that they can list their technologies in the database. We will continue our promotional efforts, presenting the projects at industry events and running our social media campaign. And we will co-organize this year's edition of the Pitch Perfect and Boost the European Bioeconomy event. On behalf of the full Tech4BioWaste Project Consortium, thank you for your attention. As explained before, we believe in disruptive communication in service of disruptive technologies. The first project video was very well received, and thus we decided to stick to this strategy. We kept the main actors and we recruited some new ones to the cast, including a few ladies making their debut on the white screen. The second project video, which premiered last month, illustrates how the Tech4BioWaste database helps to establish connections between bio-based actors, feedstocks, technologies and products. I hope you enjoy watching the video.
We took the problem and we solved the problem. No problem.
One crucial question remains. Is our technology database still in time to boost the further growth of bioeconomy innovation? It's a hell of a job to find and connect technology owners and bio-waste providers without a clear overview of what's happening in a quickly changing innovation ecosystem. A shadow world looms as things slowly spiral out of control. No time to bio-waste. We built a database and populated it with bio-waste conversion technologies and corresponding technology owners. Time to bring it out there now. To call database users to action. Time to matchmake technology owners with bio-waste providers. Time to get deals done. Out of the dark. The Tech4BioWaste Database. Available now to everyone for free. Check it out.
We are approaching the end of today's webinar. Earlier, I've promised that for those whose technology is not represented in the database yet, we would show you how to edit. Lars, Freya and Steph, go ahead.
Is your technology or company still missing on the Tech4BioWaste database and you want to edit? Just visit our project homepage and, for example, have a look at the project consortium. And here you find our info email address where you can contact us. We will create your user account and help you get started. At the tab Database, you will find the link to the database again and more information on the database, for example, a Q&A section. And further below, you find tutorial videos that help you create your company profile. The tutorials and more help are also available on the Tech4BioWaste database page. On the left-hand side in the menu, under Help. We are looking forward to your email.
Hi, everybody. Just heard in one of the interviews that adding your technology data is quite easy. It's simple. And to prove that, I will quickly show it to you. As Freya explained, I used the info@tech4biowaste.eu email address, and my user account was created. And in the meanwhile, I checked already the tutorial videos. At the top, we can clearly see that I'm logged in as Stef Denayer. I suppose that the name of my company is Denayer Biotech, and I have a crystallization technology. Well, I would put that in the post-processing activities, and probably we will find it here in the separation technologies, physical chemical separations, indeed, crystallization. There is a crystallization page, and when we scroll down on that page, we can see that already 3 technology owners are present. There is Condorchem and BTech. There is Umau Group, and there is Technoforce. I would like to add my company. So I simply click here on the what you see is what you get editor, and from now on, I can easily add my information. So we work alphabetically. So after the C of Condorchem, I will add here my company. So it's clicking and picking a header, Denayer Biotech. And then you see that there is a kind of an info box. So we will insert here via the template an info box. We have different info boxes. So we pick out the crystallization info box and we click on insert, and that's it. It's already done. Now we can fill out all the elements of this box, of course, by again adding all the different elements one by one. Well, we won't do that now, but just to finalize here, we can add information about my company, but also info about my technology, for example. I can add that here in short text, and then I click on Save Changes twice. And finished. So you see, it's quite easy. I would say, have fun.
Thank you, Freya, Lars and Stef. It was our pleasure guiding you around the Tech4BioWaste database and its inhabitants. I will now pass the floor to our detectives, who will answer all of your questions. Stef, Tanja, the floor is yours.
Well, we will start with the first question raised by Lars Burger from Neste during the interview, and his question was, how will the database be updated? And can you see when information was updated?
So yes, Lars and everybody, the database will be updated by the technology providers itself. It's kind of a self-sustaining MediaWiki database. And if you're very interested in a very specific technology, you actually have the rights to, let's say, mirror this website, this web page. So if there's an update being done, you will be informed immediately per email. So there's the next question.
Okay.
After people receive their login from the technology provider, and after they edit their technology, is there actually a quality check to avoid, let's say, fake news? Or is it also, for example, peer controlled?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, in fact, every data entry is controlled. So after every data entry has been done, then there is a control, of course, by our team, the partners of the project, that will be still going on. Peer control is not provided at this moment. That is the answer. Okay, and then third question, and that came in about valuable insights on availability of feedstock. For example, can we find in the database volumes of different types of biowaste, feedstock owners, and so on? So that's the first question, perhaps, Tanja?
So indeed, there is some kind of information provided on the feedstock, on the biomass that the technology provider can work with. So it's always on the one hand the feedstock, and on the other hand the product that we ask the technology to the technology provider to provide. But there is no information about the supply of the feedstock itself. So there's no information about the volumes of the different feedstocks in Europe, of the feedstock owners. This is something indeed which is it's a great idea, and I think it should be taken up maybe in another project.
Yeah, because the scope is really technologies, and that's the focus. And there was another related question to that. Will the scope of the database is that, because now it's biowaste, will that be further enlarged or not?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, biowaste, that was in the scope of the project as well. So this is like kitchen and garden and park waste where we started with. So the first next step, logically, would be also to extend this kind of biowaste, but also any kind of biogenic gas, agricultural waste, indeed, would be an idea.
Okay. And next question?
Next question, yeah. Is there also a way to link the different technologies in a kind of cascading approach?
The one after the other.
One after the
well,
other.
they are now, let's say, registered one by one. We have a lot of different technologies, and in each of these technologies you have technology owners that indicate what kind of feedstock they use and what kind of product they make. So when you do a search on the product, for example, and that product is an input for another technology, then you could find in the database a link, but it is you have to do that yourself, though. So there is no cascading approach. They are not interlinked at this moment, but you could do that via feedstock and product types. Okay, and then another question, and that is, is this database only available for companies, or can also universities with the technology, for example, with large scale platforms, HTC, biomass fractionation, extraction, can they also provide input on the database?
Well, definitely they can, yes. So really the database is open not only for companies or small and medium enterprises, they are also open for universities or research center. In fact, actually we already have quite a few universities and research centers also already on the database. The only thing we defined is that you would need to start from TLL, which means technology readiness level 4.
Yeah.
So after the proof of the concept, to have really a working, in industrial environment, working technology.
Yeah, indeed. And we received here, I think it's the next question or last question, I don't know. Will it stay for free? Or later, is there a subscription model? So it's for free, of course. But
it's funded from the European Commission over the two frame of the 2 years. And for now, we also have the ambition, as the 3 partners were involved, to keep it alive, to extend it. Maybe, so it will stay for free. Yeah, but it needs also the input of everybody who is interested. So, yeah. There's another question coming in. We have a little bird that gives us the questions here.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
So the next question is it only a database that is being open or being supported European-wide or also worldwide?
Yeah, actually it's a Europe-wide network database. Of course, in extension, that's always the question about, is its database extendable to the future, towards the future? Yes, of course, but in the actual state, it's an Europe-wide database, actually. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay. I think we received very good questions. We hope that we could answer the most urgent questions. We are still here, everybody from the consortium, to provide more answers, so you can just get in touch. So thank you everybody for attending the webinar and for all your questions. We will now conclude this session and the webinar. Thanks for joining, and I think we will briefly give the floor back to our project coordinator, John Voss from BTG. Thank you.
Bye.
We have now come to the end of today's webinar. I'd like to thank everyone involved in one capacity or the other in database design, development, testing, population and validation. I want to thank the Bio-based Industry Joint Undertaking, now renamed into Circular Bio-based Europe Joint Undertaking, for the funding of the Tech4BioWaste project. And I'd like to thank you all for attending this webinar. Last but not least, my special thanks to the production team, headed by Katrien Molders from Bio-based Europe Pilot Plant, who masterminded our project videos as well as today's webinar. You are welcome to get or stay in touch with us. Contact us at info@tech4biowaste.eu or through the project website tech4biowaste.eu. Bye bye and have a wonderful day.